Hello and welcome to another anime lore and theory video. I'm Shergog, your host, and today we are going to take a closer look at an incredibly intense scene, full of foreshadowing and storytelling that sadly never made it fully into the anime, and what this mysterious crystal had to do with it all. But before we're going to take a closer look at any of this, let me quickly thank my patrons for supporting this channel, as well as a thanks to all users of the YouTube thanks function for making one-time donations. And with that said, let's get to the topic at hand. A meeting room where an urgent crisis is being discussed, a mysterious stranger clad in black, a revelation of arcane power that far exceeds the boundaries of imagination. This scene is unfortunately only found in the Overlord novels, as it was heavily abridged in the anime, and many subtext and deeper insight into the world of Overlord were thus left completely out. But to be fair, I understand why these details were omitted. Season 1 of the anime aimed to end on an absolute high note, the climactic battle between Sheltier Bloodfallen and Ainz Ooal Gown himself. And to achieve this, 3 Overlord volumes had to be condensed into a single season. And consequently, there was simply no time to conclude this brilliant scene fully. Additionally, the further impact that this scene had were later basically put into bonus stories. However, with all of that said, let's actually take a look into the events of this strategy meeting in Ivantel and see what was left out. And the meeting in question was conceived by the Adventurers Guild to address the appearance of a mysterious and overwhelmingly powerful vampire nearby. And the lead up to this meeting was also very important and sadly not really explicitly shown in the anime, as in the scenes were there but the connection was never that explicitly made. Because in the anime we only saw Britta throw the potion that she received from Momon, which of course is a disguise from Ainz Ooal Gown, into Sheltier's face. And this action, and this is very important, this action led Sheltier to interrogate Britta before ultimately letting her go. Because Sheltier feared that harming Britta would further complicate and harm the plan of Ainz Ooal Gown. Because there had to be a reason this seemingly completely unimportant adventurer has received a gift from the Overlord himself. And again, Sheltier feared that she had interfered with this plan. And this also was only necessary, the attack on Britta and her team was only necessary because Sheltier made the mistake of overlooking an escape route. And this allowed other people, including Brain Anglos, to flee. And of course this misstep made Sheltier eager to eliminate all witnesses, which ultimately led her straight into the Black Scripture's attack, resulting in a mind control incident. So Britta survived this encounter, and of course therefore she ensured that reports of Sheltier reached the guild, which correctly recognized her as an existential threat, and they speculated that she might be a minion of, or actually a surviving evil deity that devastated the world 200 years before Ainz Ooal Gown, which of course led the guildmaster to call in all available high-ranking adventurers to deal with this overwhelming threat. And again, this chain of events all began with Ainz giving Britta the red healing potion, setting everything in motion. And when Ainz, disguised as Momon, attended the meeting, he knew he had to prevent any large-scale mobilization against Sheltier in order to keep his own mistake, because he ignored a warning and contact information of Entoma, basically the other day, completely hidden. So again, this was a series of mistakes that both Sheltier and Ainz Ooal Gown had committed. This was the first subtext that sadly didn't really make it across in the anime. To be fair though, it was also quite hidden in the light novels. And again, although Ainz was prepared to defeat Sheltier himself, she still remained an NPC created by his dear friends, a legacy of his beloved comrades. So he couldn't bear the thought of anyone else, especially other NPCs, fighting her. And again, the idea of the children of his dear friends each other was unthinkable to him. And of course, he didn't want any filthy outsiders to interfere in this business and to attack Sheltier. And this was basically the context in which the scene unfolded. And again, I also talked a lot about the meeting with Iguva, or rather Igward, as he was known back then, because again, Igward was made an undead after interfering with Ainz Ooal Gown's plan. But he was the exception. He was just envious of Ainz Ooal Gown and the success of Momon. And therefore Ainz managed to persuade everyone except Igward to not engage with this mysterious vampire he was seemingly hunting. And Ainz accomplished this by leveraging his role as a newcomer, because he was this mysterious dark knight that appeared out of nowhere, and that did something really incredible, because he did not only fight against undead hordes, but he actually won. And he had also something to back up his power and his claims to be so strong and so powerful. A crystal, a mysterious item he seemingly obtained, which contained an 8-year spell that he could show to the assembled adventurers, to the guildmaster of the Adventurer Guild, Pluton Einzach, and to a member, not only a member, to the very guildmaster of the Mage Guild, Fiu Rakishir. And Fiu, an expert on magic, was present, and he offered to, of course, give his opinion on the alleged vampire that showed up, whom Momon also claimed to know, and he also claimed to know that it went by the name Honyo Penyoko. And again, the additional context and tension in the novel made the scene particularly gripping and a very great insight into the very mindset of the people in Iwantel and in the larger kingdom of Riestais and the New World. And again, for the representative of the Magician's Guild, this magical crystal presented during the meeting was extremely shocking. It was something unusual, something that shouldn't even exist, given conventional wisdom of their very own world, because it served as proof that magic beyond the already established 7 tiers existed. Magic that could be deployed, wielded or managed. Magic of the 8th tier. This revelation was monumental, as higher tier magic had long been a hotly debated and passionately discussed topic in these magic circles. And again, this was not only just an ordinary magician, not an ordinary caster, it was the head of the Magician's Guild of the fortress city of Iwantel. So receiving indisputable evidence, literally his own first-hand account of the existence of 8-tier magic out of nowhere, made him very excited and wild and unruly, just as Fluda Paradane would be later. And this is the first parallel that unfortunately was only present in the books, because it was basically foreshadowing how Fluda Paradane would react to not only the 8th tier of magic, but to super tier magic, as in Ainz Ooal Gown removing his ring, revealing his full power to the very excited, legendary Triad Wizard. So again, this was basically the build-up to this scene later in the 7th volume, that unfortunately never made it into the 3rd one. As a result, the head of the Magician's Guild began to believe that the legends, such as a goblin king who fought dragons with an ash branch, or the hero who soared through the skies on his wings, might be more than just mere myths. And now, after the 8th tier of magic had been proven to exist right in front of him, he could actually believe that these were actual factual accounts, dismissed as mere tales because the people in Iwantel and the people in the kingdom of Riestais at large, and generally speaking, the people of most nations, could not imagine that these people had such a power and such an impact as the legends and old tales described them to have. But with the confirmation of 8-tier magic and the presence of such an extraordinary artifact in Iwantel, these legends took on a new light and became believable, became factual reports that just people refused to believe because of the sheer power of the people involved. And again, for the Magicians Guild, this realization alone was groundbreaking. And furthermore, Ainz's description of the crystal and its power, his basically very tight-lippedness about this, also impressed the attendees, basically anyone except for Igwag, who was consumed by jealousy. But for everyone else, Mommon's rapid rise, his defeat of threatening forces capable of destroying Iwantel, basically a zombie army, and of course of Clementine and of Khajiit. This alone spoke volumes about his strengths to all of the other participants of the meeting, because not only had Mommon eliminated the zombie army created by Khajiit, including his 2 skeletal dragons, as well as Clementine, a former Black Scripture member capable of defeating Gazav Stronov, the strongest man in the kingdom, even without her full gear. But again, at the very same day, Mommon also conquered and subjugated the Vice King of the Forest and transformed Tamuske into his very own steed. And these were accomplishments far beyond what would anybody expect from just a mere bronze rank adventurer. So in other words, Mommon, or rather Ainz, effectively conveyed the impression that his appearance and success hinted at a much greater personality than just a newcomer clad in fancy armor. He wasn't just some upstart gaining notoriety now. And this made his fabricated story about hunting the vampire, actually Sheltier, who had just been brainwashed, but this mysterious vampire known as Honyo Panyoko, highly believable. His newfound reputation as a competent and formidable warrior allowed him to present an understanding of the situation that surpassed what would typically be expected of a newcomer. He now was the expert in this room, after showing the crystal off to the head of the Mage Guild of Iwantel, and after showing Pluton Einzach how strong he was. And again, while Igwag and his ego was visibly irritated, the crystal taken from the Sunlight Scripture lent immense credibility to Mommon's claims. Even those unfamiliar with magic could see how significant this crystal was from the head of the Mage Guild reaction. And after the battle with Sheltier, Mommon continued his deception with very smart moves, because his armor, his clothing, and the very crystal he showed off appeared to be damaged and exhausted after the fight. And this all supported the narrative that even an artifact containing 8-tier magic suffered damage in such an intense battle. And the battlefield also turned into a wasteland thanks to Ainz Ooal Gown's spell. But again, this was unknown to all of the other members of the guild. And this site, this field, this part in the forest was also the site of the Battle of Sheltier and Platinum Dragonlord's armor. And again, this further solidified the story. And these battle scars in the landscapes were seen as irrefutable proof that Mommon was right and that Mommon was truly something special. And all of this made Mommon's warning to Igwag and his team, Team Kralgra, about charging into their certain deaths very reasonable. He seemed like a seasoned veteran, despite just being a newcomer, that warned these greenhorns, these young and upstart people, to not get involved in forces far greater than they could ever imagine. And again, this conveying all of this also explained why the other adventurer teams, again aside from Team Kralga, opted out of this hunt. And it's very hard to argue against all of this physical evidence that the aftermath of the battle between Sheltier and Ainz had actually left behind. So it was all very believable what Mommon said. And except for the fact that the vampire and Mommon came from the same guild, and not from a distant land, but rather from a computer game in another dimension, none of it was even a lie. That said, ordinary people, including the mages and the adventurers in the New World, would struggle to even comprehend the connection between video games, or what even a video game was, with Japan and the New World at large. So in other words, the meeting room contained layers upon layers of politics, deceptions, and revelations that sadly didn't make it into the anime. Also, there was a lot of foreshadowing that was left out. And again, this was unfortunate, because all of this entire plan of appearing as this competent and seemingly very, very, very powerful adventurer that fights for the good things and for justice and for humanity, all of this was the plan of Ainz Ooal Gown himself. He wanted to promote his disguise as Momon as much as possible. And again, this act and the victory over the vampire Honyo Penyoko, it was just a coincidence. Ainz never planned that Shaltiel would go rogue. But again, he wanted to polish his reputation as this hero of humanity. And he succeeded, because now rumors about Momon and Nabe began to spread. The two were said to be survivors of a long-lost kingdom, a young prince and possibly another princess from another land who had lost their home, thanks to two overwhelmingly powerful vampires who destroyed it, and one of them made it to Irantel, chased all the way by Momon. And this was also the supposed origin story of their weapons, their armor and their items, and why they are so competent. Because in the mind of the populace, and especially of figures like Pluton or Theo, this created a parallel, just as Irantel had Razor Edge, and Gazav Stronov's armor, and of course Gazav Stronov himself. These immensely powerful figures and these immensely powerful relicts were also present in other form in other nations. Basically what Momon was wearing and the items he was carrying were legendary items that came from his own royal lineage and treasury vault. But of course, none knew for sure, and few dared to offend such a powerful and respected individual by prying. And all of this was part of Ainz Ooal Gown's plan from the very start. Again, not the incidents with Shaltiel or Britta, which caught him completely off guard, but Momon was always meant to establish this image of a legendary hero, a reputation of the hero of humanity. And then the next step, in Ainz Ooal Gown's mind, was to drop the mask and reveal himself to the world, saying, "Look, I am a human, trapped in the body of an undead, but I'm still a human in spirit. I am your hero, I fought for you. Judge me by my actions, not by my appearance." And the same goes for my guild and its guild members. Yes, we may look inhuman, but we are peaceful and kind, and we can coexist in harmony. Of course, this plan also aimed to make the name Ainz Ooal Gown widely known with this revelation. And the hope was that his former friends, if they were in the New World, would now hear about it and come to join him. And at the beginning of the anime and novels, Ainz clung onto this very hope, to see his friends that way again. But there was something else that came of it, because Ainz eventually did reveal himself, but not as Momon. Instead he emerged as the undead sorcerer King Ainz Ooal Gown, during one of the most terrifying battles in the history of the New World. And this battle was so horrific that even his own allies trampled each other in panic, while fleeing from the Dark Young, summoned by their very own ally, summoned by the soon-to-be Sorcerer King, after they applauded the supreme power of Ainz Ooal Gown. So as I said, this scene held so much more depth beyond the end of Team Kalgra and Igvark's later transformation into Iguva 41. And again, these were my thoughts on this situation and what was left out and how significant all of this was really. So there was a lot more context that sadly didn't make it into the anime. But with all of that said, now it's your turn. What are your thoughts on the video and the plot elements that unfortunately didn't fully make it into the anime? Let me know it down in the comment section. And with that said, please check out my German channel, my fantasy channel, and if you don't want to listen to my voice or accent, but are still interested in the things I have to say, I have made an AI channel. narrated by almost a woman, where I use AI voiceovers for my videos, and the channels are all linked down in the video descriptions. Also, please check out my Patreon if you want to support me beyond just leaving a like or sub. And with that said, I say thank you very much for watching, thanks to my Patreons for supporting this channel, and special thanks to Other the Other, ASK, Bad Guy Ye, Bad Burrito 316, Beezer, Ben C, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Dan Pep, Dragonlord Placido Saxophone, Duckwagon, Dunkler Krieger, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Feral Shivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Moreno, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Lee K. Long, Legendarius, Lelouch V. Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Loverazer, Merovec, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, Oh Hell No, Normal Toad, O'Kill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pantum, Personage, Ruru, Primus 11, Rhinomere, Cune Caracos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Sir Axolotl, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rock Ed Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito 27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Zinukai, and Sonagon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.